Darin, realizing that without the champion's aid, the runic cannons would not be ready in time in order to hold back this horror, took up his mighty ancestral dual-headed warhammer, looking to the general, commanding him to take charge as he took to the battlefield, telling him, now is the time, the moment the cannons are ready to open fire, to keep them firing as fast as possible. Show no mercy. Keep going until that beast is no more. He charges to the battlefield ready to fight, ready to hold it for as long as he can, to give his people a fighting chance. As he approaches the front lines, he calls out to the dwarven ancestors, pleading with them, please grant me your strength. Do not let this day be the final day of the dwarves, for I will fight with all my might till the end to ensure our people's survival. As if on cue, a bronze light emerged from the ground around him, all his power converging into him, granting him great strength. He compressed it into his body and into his hammer, charging with inhuman speed, tearing the ground asunder with every thrust. As he approached the mighty beast, as he tore down towards it with all his might, bounding over all those who had fallen, over his dead brethren, his rage building with each step he took. The creature coming back up to full strength, its limb regenerating, it looked on in rage as it realized a new opponent was approaching, only to be struck in the chest with power beyond its understanding. It was knocked off its feet and sent flying backwards, crashing into the ground, tearing through it, anything in its path destroyed. As it came to a halt several hundred feet away, the dwarven king did not relent. The moment his feet touched the ground, he charged forward again, ready to beat this creature down with all his might, to show him dwarves are not to be taken lightly. He leaps at it one more time and strikes as hard as he can, only to realize that the beast blocked his attack with its arm, the arm taking damage, blood gushing forth. But the beast's eyes showed not fear, but rage, as it swatted the dwarven king backwards, sending him spiraling right into the front lines of his own people, crashing through them and tearing the dwarven walls to pieces, leaving naught but ruins. As he climbed out of the rubble, realizing that he had torn through all three lines of defense, his body ragged, his armor sundered, his beloved warhammer destroyed, with a single blow no less. But just as he was fearing it was the end, he heard the mighty roar of the runic cannons. The beast cried out in pain as one of its limbs sundered, torn free from its body, having taken the full brunt of the runic cannon assault. The rage could be felt from within. It looked on at the cannons it had dared to wound it, and as it moved to approach, it was struck again, legs flying free from its body, its tendrils lashing out to block whatever was attacking it, being torn asunder once more, as it realized the dwarven champion was not dead. He had returned. He was furious. Holding his runic blade in hand, he called out to the dwarven gods of old, grant him the might to strike down this foul beast. Let it feel true dwarven wrath. His wish was granted. All the powers ever bestowed upon the dwarves was granted unto him. His blade glowed with a mighty white light as flashes burst forth with each swing. He cleaved limbs from the beast, but they quickly regenerated. As he kept swinging, the creature put its arms up to block the attacks. Realizing that the beast had already regenerated the missing limb, he tried with all his might to bring it low, swinging left and right, hacking and slashing with everything he had. As he cut away limbs and hacked into its arms, realizing his blows were no longer having the same effect, the creature was growing stronger, not weaker. His weapon was getting weaker, his body slower, his power waning. Why? Why is his power waning? He thought. He looked at the beast only to see its eyes glowed brighter, realizing too late that this creature was actually drawing the power from him to restore its own strength. It erupted with a mighty roar. A blast wave shot forth, leading right into the champion's chest, powerful enough to send him back into the ground, creating a massive trench using his body. He was barely able to hold on. Had he not gotten his sword up in time, he had no doubt that would have killed him. The beast, now fully regenerated, began to gather power at its mouth, an immense bright green light gathering in its maw. It directed its face towards the dwarves, preparing to annihilate them, preparing to wipe them from existence. The dwarven king, Darin, looking on in horror. The champion, unable to even rise to his feet, called out once more, "Give me more power. I cannot allow this to be the end." More power was given. His wounds regenerated. He rose up once more, clasping hold of his sword, and with a mighty swing, he unleashed a blast that was powerful enough to knock the creature back. But the wounds inflicted were mere flesh wounds, not even enough to slow it. It continued to gather power. As its attack was nearing completion, a massive explosion erupted. It was the runic cannons firing, all their power directed right at its mouth. They knew this was their only chance. As the runic blasts collided with the beast's energy attack, the explosion was so immense that naught but a white light and a blast wave so great that it literally tore the ground apart, leaving naught but a massive crater from which nothing could have survived. Few dwarves lived through this horror. The destruction left a crater so great that not even at the zenith the sun's light could touch the bottom. The dwarven champion rose from the rubble. Looking just beyond his feet, the crater sat. Looking around, he saw not one dwarf within sight. Confused and disturbed at the destruction, he looked for his king. All he found was the remains of a man that had once been his king. Arms and legs were gone, the vast majority of his torso torn asunder. He was gone. Few dwarves emerged. Only those at the very rear survived. If you'd like me to continue the story, please like, share, comment, and subscribe, and I will continue the story.